Hi, this is Gloria Keith again with Action Speaks, Heritage Excellence Education Journal. And of course, today is Sunday. And thank you all for joining in with me. I'm only going to be here a few minutes. I have been working all day to continue to create my studio for long term. And although it's taken me a while, I must say I am striving my best to do what I need to do as far as maintaining my health, uh, increasing my healthiness. So, in reference to understanding and combating internalized oppression or the operation of internalized oppression when directed against leaders, Black leaders, um, just people in general within our own circles, within our own communities, our own families, our own selves. Yes, we have to fight against the damages that have been done to us because sometimes we have no one else to fight with or no one else to discharge our distresses upon or to. And I rather say to. And I rather that um, I've found it best to discharge my distresses in a safe place. There are so many obstacles, there are so many counteractions that occur when we discharge our distresses in public places or around the wrong people. Could be around one person as opposed to around millions of people. So to be safe, we ourselves, or as one, I must choose someone that I feel safe with in order to discharge my stresses. And I would like for others to do the same. And you find that it's much more of a blessing. That's just like rather than hearing people talk, you go directly to God yourself rather than listening to someone else who said, I've been to God, or let's say in a courtroom. If we notice the rules are is that we don't repeat hearsay as good evidence. It has to be something we know directly, something we heard directly, not from someone else who heard it from someone else, etc. So I found that it's best to have my own co counselor or other person to listen to me. And then I also offer my ears, my listening ears to the other person, or perhaps to someone else who needs someone to listen to them. So, it's a matter, like I said, of safety, what we call confidentiality, and it is necessary. And it's better than the way that I've seen us, or I've seen others, or than the way I've dealt with things maybe in the past myself. I've learned from Harvey, and from that, we will start with me, and I will share with you some of the things that I learned, or some of the things that I'm being taught through Harvey's writings, and hopefully that some of you will also. Well, the last time we passed this way, we completed the pages of 71 through 74 of the Frontier Theory, June 1988, in Harvey's book Start Over Every Morning by Harvey Jackins. And there is a paragraph I would like to read from that. But before we do that, which that will be my ending paragraph, I want to go back to the very beginning of the chapter on understanding and combating the operation of internalized oppression when directed against leaders by Harvey Jackins. And that is found in the Reclaiming of Power by Harvey Jackins. Okay. And there are some things that I want to share that I think that I consider as being very important to me, and I hope you will too. Some of you at least will too. We were talking about the damages of racism, the damages of oppression. And we know, of course, that oppression has many forms, but we're speaking specifically on and directly on the form of racism. And I'm speaking to you particularly on the form of the internalized oppression of internalized racism. Let me pull my bottle of water closer so I can get to it quicker. Another kind of damage, if you go back and read some of my previous videos, or listen to some of my previous videos, you see that I've read up until this point in the reclaiming of power. Okay, another kind of damage that we experience from racism as Black people, and Black and brown people in particular, but actually all human beings are oppressed. And we will go more into detail of the histories and of the differences of the various forms and the people, human beings. Okay, I have on a different pair of glasses today, and I'll try and get through with these, okay? Because I won't be here long with you. I won't hold you up. Okay, another kind of damage. We have been slower to deal with internalized oppression directed against leadership. We have moved a little. We have noted the damage done on the women's movement by the trashing of leaders and that movement's efforts to deal with it. Those of us with experience in the labor movement have remembered that during labor struggles, we came to expect union leaders to be slandered in every possible way in the media, with wild charges made against them to divert the membership from supporting their leadership or the struggle. That is definitely internalized. We have grappled somewhat with the tendency to abandon the co counselor as client as soon as she or he takes a position of leadership and have tried to deal with this through golden circle and the group counseling the leader techniques. We have learned to offer a session to co counselors who hang their resentment of authority on RC leaders. We have at least partly recognized these anti leadership phenomena as expressions of internalized oppression, weakening the community as a whole and hindering the reemergence of individual co counselors. We also need to learn to deal with attacks which affect the whole community and the theory and practice of RC, but which claim to be only attacks on or criticisms of an individual leader or leaders. Okay, that's the end of that particular topic. Okay, and that's in the book of Reclaiming of Power. We'll let that clock play out. I did not take the batteries out, and I'm very sorry. I said I would if I remembered, but I did not remember. Okay, so let's move on. Unreasonable Expectations, 74, and this is book Start Over Every Morning. Harvey says, I tried to talk to the academic people like this, that RC is not a group of wonderful, perfect people who always do the right thing. RC is not the mother that you never had because she had to go off to work. RC is not the perfect lover who will love you under all conditions. RC is not the great giant cow in the sky whose odor will spray you with warm, healing streams of milk that will wash all your patterns and sins away and leave you perfect. if you will just bunt her under hard enough. RC isn't any of those. And yet I see over and over again this kind of expectation and then disappointment. I'm dropping out of RC. It hasn't solved my problems. I think this has slowed us down enormously. RC is none of those things. RC is a bunch of insights, a bunch of recovered glimpses of reality in an area where reality has been obscured by all the patterns and the lack of information and the misinformation and the oppression. This great mass of mud, the misinformation, the patterns, and the lack of information and the oppression covers the whole human race. All human beings are struggling in this great mud pile, trying to keep their nose above the mud enough to breathe a little bit and live somewhat rationally. All human beings are engaged in this continual struggle and are wrestling with the stress all the time. This includes all the human beings who are in RC, your fellow RCers, the people in the community that you expect to act perfectly and get terribly disappointed because they don't act perfectly and get terribly disappointed because they don't. They're struggling with just about as much mud as you are. Maybe a particular person has done some right things or made a more consistent effort and her head's a little bit more out of the mud. And so you can see some inspiration. I use Barbara as inspiration. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going, as far as Barbara's concerned. When she comes up against a difficulty, she sails into it with a couple of war cries and a big smile. When I start sinking into, I don't know why Barbara doesn't counsel me better because she's got so much pizzazz. Why doesn't she use it to help me? I've lost the whole point. I've lost the whole picture. I can use her as inspiration for what I can do. But if I start expecting her to stop and scrape my mud off, and forget that she's got darn near all she can do to keep her own chin above the mud, I have distorted the whole role of RC. All humans are struggling. I'll say that again. All humans are struggling. Every one of us, humans, human beings, are struggling. All human beings are struggling in this great mud pile in society. I add. And this includes the RCers. When we have what we have is some precious pieces of knowledge, some precious insights that enable us to get out of the mud a little faster if we use them. But the notions that these insights make RC a great nurse to take care of us, or make an RCer the perfect lover, or someone who's delighted to counsel us all the time, no matter how we act. Stuff like that, that is just nonsense. So says Harvey. We're deep in a very difficult struggle, internalized racism. Most of humanity is about up to here in mud. Give them a little information and a little boost and tell them it's up to them. Try to keep your eyes clear so you can see where you are going, because the pressure is to give up and go down drugs or alcohol and die fast. There's enormous pressure this way on humans in this collapsing stage of society. Some wide world people have grasped these insights. Some people did it just by sheer decision. We run into such people occasionally who are leading good lives by sheer decision, and we can admire them. They never heard of RC, but they're parallel with it. Some RCs have been able to get up to where they're out of the mud this far most of the time. If we project these unreasonable expectations on them, we're leap on them, shove them under the mud, and then wonder why they failed us. We are not judges, and that's from me. And the Bible tells us if we do judge, make a righteous judgment. Make sure we have all of the facts. And to, if we are to even consider judging another person, we should learn to do it in a safe place, not where it tears that person down and us along with it. I think everyone here is an inspiration to some people. I believe that about everyone. The same thing my mother said before she passed. But you'll be used as an inspiration, not as something to clutch at. and be disappointed in. If we realize that RC just consists of these glimpses we've got of reality, including the glimpses of how we can relate to each other effectively, how we can cooperatively re-emerge, will make it work. Will make it work all the time, like we have made it work occasionally up and up to now. If we go back into putting out these unrealistic expectations and being disappointed in each other, this this is just not about RC. This is about life, y'all. Think on it. Harvey is talking to the members of the RC community. Again, he said, if we go back into putting out these unrealistic expectations and being disappointed in each other or in RC, then the whole thing slows down again. To my Black brothers and sisters, please consider that statement before we set out to expect things. Let's be sure. Well, we cannot be sure all the time, but let's think about realistically expecting something or someone. Let's not approach a situation with unrealistic unexpectations, because we will find ourselves disappointing ourselves and disappointing each other. And we, you know, like I said, I'm past 65, and I truly won't try and judge you. And if you find that I am, I want you to bring it to my attention. I may not apologize right there and right then and there, but you will find an apology. I know it's within me, and I know at some time that I will do just that, apologize to you. Because I don't want things. We've spent a whole year under this pandemic of COVID, COVID 19. And I pray that we Black people, we've heard over and over and over. Every time something occurs, it's always Black Americans. I'm not talking about African Americans. I'm not speaking about um, others. I'm not speaking about the white Americans. I'm not speaking about the Asian American. I'm speaking about Black Americans. And hopefully, I'm speaking to Black Americans. I am a Black American. Although my long time past heritage is said to be in Africa. I was born right here in Alabama, not where I am now. Never lived where I am now in this part of Alabama. Didn't know the community was here, but I am here now. So I consider it as God has planted me here for a purpose. And I want us all to actually grow, to grow. Particularly, I want to see a community built and established for excellence education for each and every one of our children, not just black and brown children, but for every one of our children. And I want to see Black America, though, come up to the point to where other people in America can see the genuine uh, escalation and the progress, the productivity of Black America or Black American communities move and progress. I want to see other senior citizens and elderlies think, ah, I'm preparing to live and not preparing to die because I am. I'm preparing to live. So anytime you see me doing something for someone, I'm trying to help that person live. Not I'm not looking toward that person dying. I know that this is something we're going all going to do. I am, you are, you know. So we already know this. So why not spend our time preparing to live? So as long as God has us here, we live until the very end. I thank you kindly for listening, and I pray that we need to continue on with understanding and combating the operation of internalized racism within our own selves, within our own family, within our own community, within our own church, within our own school, and everywhere among ourselves so that we can be better with each other. And in saying that, I'm also remembering myself that there are things that I need to do to better my relationship with my family members. So you pray for me, pray with me. I'll pray for you, and I'll pray with you. Just stay in touch. Action Speaks, Heritage Excellence Education Journal. Action. And the website is Action Speaks GJHK 2021.com or YouTube. I can't think right now of that address, but if you check out YouTube and you check out my name, Gloria J. Keith, or it could be in Gloria J. Hunt Keith, you will find me. And you know me when you see me. My picture will be there. May God bless each and every one of you. Until we meet again, thank you for sharing. Thank you so very much.